Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we have a exciting palette review. I got my hands on the Urban Decay Naked Wild West palette, and you're probably like, how in the world did you get that? But it was so weird. I actually got this on Nordstrom. They released it early. Thank you to Karen Harris for posting a link on her community tab on YouTube, because that is how I found out that it was, I think it was accidentally put on Nordstrom.com early on Thursday. So I ordered it, and I just so happened to have a Nordstrom like distribution center near me in Iowa. So it got to me here in like one day, which is nuts. I was not expecting it to come this soon. I noticed they took it off the site, so unfortunately you cannot get this on Nordstrom at the moment, but it is available on the 8th at most retailers. So we are going to be going all into this palette, testing it out. I pretty much review all the Urban Decay palettes, or mostly the Naked palettes, because I do like them. I do have a few favorites in my collection, and I've been loving them since like the beginning of time when they started doing them. So I was actually really surprised to see them come out with this one. So this is the box here on the Naked Wild West. I was really surprised. I kind of talked about this in my last video, that they included this in like the Naked line, because it just seems weird to have a Naked Wild West. It doesn't feel like it fits the theme. Even though the palette is in neutrals, I could see why maybe they would put this in there. I think they just kind of cling on to that Naked hype because they think that maybe more people would purchase it if it is included in the Naked, since that is so much more well known, even off of beauty YouTube, but just in general all over the world, people know Urban Decay for their Naked line. So I guess I could kind of see why they would do that, but I'm ready for them to kind of branch out and just, you know, just call it Wild West. Like, just say what it is. It says it's a dreamy lineup of 12 desert hued shades inspired by endless sand dunes, evergreen succulents, and glittering night skies. So it includes both sizzling warm and ultra cool looking tones, which I think is awesome. And I'll go ahead and show you guys the palette. So on the inside, I like it has Most Wanted here, just a little extra on the packaging, and then this is what it looks like. It is honestly beautiful. So it's kind of resembling like this snakeskin print. I feel like the colors in here definitely fit with the Desert Wild West theme. I think that is so fun. Let me go ahead and show you what the inside is like. By the way, this is the same type of packaging that is on the Ultraviolet palette, like the plastic packaging. And then here is the shade. So like it mentioned, you get warm and cool tones mixed, which I think is really cool. I feel like people either love this or hate this palette. Urban Decay gets a lot of hate on their Naked line, I noticed, but I like neutral palettes, so that is why I bought this to review. You guys probably know this about me already, but I can never have enough neutral palettes. That is what I wear. That is what I reach for the most, and if I can have a neutral palette with a couple pops of color, I'm all about it. I wanted to mention this one retails for $49, and I'm going to be doing 3 looks with this one today. I wanted to make sure I kind of got in all the color schemes, so I did like a cool toned look, a warm toned look, and then this blue look, of course, trying out the blues in the palette, which is probably my personal favorite. Let me go ahead and share these swatches real quick with you. This is how they swatch. They swatched really beautifully, so I just think this is a really pretty color scheme. I like when palettes just flow together so nicely like this, and it just makes it super easy to create a look with. So let's go ahead and get into the 3 looks that I did. Alright guys, first look with the palette. I do want to say about their brushes, I don't really like their brushes that they come with. I only use it for like lid color, so I might use it for the lid color because I like these flat ones. Let's do first up a cool toned look with the palette, because I see some fun like grayish purple tones that would be really pretty to work with. So first I'm going to go into Laredo here, which is this like mid-tone gray. And we will just put this right into the crease. Very nice pigmentation. I'm just kind of tapering it out just a little bit. Okay, next I am going to go into the shade Pony Up, which is this one out here, this gray. And I'm just kind of placing this very softly there and kind of tapering it out just a bit. Now I'll see if I can kind of build up some pigmentation with it, because it does seem to be light. So let's see if I can kind of pack that. Yeah, this shade is definitely more, I would say, a medium type shade. I wouldn't say it builds up too much depth. which is interesting since it is kind of on the darker side of the palette. I was expecting it to be a little deeper, but I do think it is a pretty shade. I am going to put a little bit of that same color on my lower lash line. Actually, I'm going to mix the two we use, so I'll mix Laredo and also the gray Pony Up together. And we'll put this on the lower lash line. So this look, I don't really like it to be super clean cut. As you guys can see, it's just kind of a faded out smoky eye. Next, I'll take that Naked brush and we'll go in with Cowboy Rick. And it does not want to pick up much with a brush, so I'm just going to lay a base down with that. And then we'll use our finger to make it pop even more. But yeah, this color you definitely want to use with your finger, and I'm assuming that's going to be the same for the gold in the palette. Some shades just work better that way, and I like a super foiled look, so that's what I personally like to do. Alright, so I am going to add the rest of my makeup, and I'll show you guys the finished look. This will look so much better once I have my concealer on, so it's not so dark underneath there, just to really brighten everything up since we're working with the smoky tones. But I think this is going to come out really gorgeous because I really love it so far. Alright, so I think for these looks, I just threw on some lip balm. I'm really just going to focus on the eyes, and then for the last look, I'll like do the full face, like with blush and everything. But since I'm going to be basically doing these makeup looks and then wiping it off, I just want to show you guys what it looks like. And also, I just tried out these new Glamnetic lashes, and I think I'm a new convert. I literally got these from a BoxyCharm a couple months ago. Haven't tried them until now because I was like, you know what, this might be easy to just put on and take off for all the looks, just to kind of add the completed look, because I just love how lashes look with everything. Wow. This was literally the easiest thing I've ever used in my life. You just put on this magnetic eyeliner, just a little strip, and then your lash just sits right on top of it, and it just sits so beautifully. And yeah, I can't believe it. I'm kind of shocked, honestly, how easy this was, because I hate dealing with lashes. So I had to share that little verb with you because that was the first time I tried them. But here's how the completed look is. I think it is beautiful. If you guys want just a really easy smoky eye, you can definitely get one with this palette using kind of the gray tones in here. I will say, I don't think you can build up to be super dark. It's more going to be like a gray smoky eye with the Pony Up shade, but overall, it is a really beautiful look. I really like how it came out. And I like kind of smudging it towards the outwards side so it kind of lifts the eyes as well instead of dragging them down. So that's look number one. All right, on to look number two. We are going to go in with the shade Nudie here in the crease. The shade does have a lot more pigment than I thought it would, but it is ranging on the lighter side for a crease or transition color. Next, we'll go ahead and build that up with Ghost Town, this like burnt orange. I'm just taking a tiny little bit in the crease area. Oh my gosh, it's so pigmented. Yeah, I'm glad I only grabbed a little. Next, we're gonna do Whiskey, this dark brown in the outer corner. Yeah, this one's nice. And then I'll mix these two together for the lower lash line. I always like to kind of tie that same color there. I just feel like it really completes the look. I do want to try Rustler on the lid to see how that looks. It's like this beautiful bronze. Ooh, that's really pretty. I am such a sucker for bronze tones. And then I'm going to add a little bit of Hold'em on top just to see how that shade looks with my finger. Ooh, yeah, that's a nice just like gold finish to it. But I think the shades are really pretty mixed. Alright, so I'm going to add concealer, lashes, and I'll show you guys the finished look. Alright, and here's the eyes for look 2, like this golden bronze look. This is something I would wear like every single day. These are my favorite kind of tones. And then for the final look, which will be the one I'm wearing for most of this video, I do want to try out those like pops of blue in the palette. I think I am going to go ahead and use Spur this time into the crease and try this shade, which is a little bit more like peachy. I'm going to also use Georgetown again in the crease. I want to see how the blues look with like these rusty shades. For this one, I think I want to do a halo eye. I think it would be fun with these shades. So we'll take the dark turquoise called Tex and place that in the outer and inner corner of the eye. This one does take a little bit of building to get the full opacity of that color, but it does blend nicely. And then I'm going to use a more small precision brush to go back in with that text shade in the inner portion of the eye. And I'm just going to start really small, just building up the color. And trying not to get it too much or too high, because then it just gets like too dark in that area in my inner corner, which I don't really love. And then I just kind of build it up, and we'll bring it into the crease as well, just to kind of complete that halo. And then we'll go ahead and take Bud. I'll go ahead and use a brush first, and then we'll try it with our fingers just to see what's better. And so this is just gonna go right in the middle. And then I always just do an extra pop with my finger just for extra measure. I will say this is probably one of the least messy halo eyes that I've done using a dark shade like this, because sometimes it just goes a little overboard, and sometimes it's hard to kind of fix, and it just looks a little bit too dark. But yeah, this one was really easy to work with. With the Urban Decay formula, it's very buildable, and it just blends out very easily. So it makes it really nice to do these halo eyes, which can sometimes cause issues with blending, but I think it blends out beautifully. That was really easy to do. I kind of want to add a little bit of this silver even on top of that, just to see what happens, because I'm curious. Just right in the very center. Okay, that didn't really do much. It's kind of making it more like shifty, like it changed the tone just a little bit, which I really like. I feel like it's just a little bit more like snakeskin-esque, I guess they're going for, or mermaid-esque is what I would call it. I think I kind of want to take Whiskey on the lower lash line just to bring in more of that brown. I'll also mix in a little bit of Ghost Town as well. I wish I had a little bit more lid space, because I feel like you would be able to see the orange coming through a little bit more. But since my eyes are a little bit hooded, it doesn't really show up as much, but I do like the orange with the blue. I think it's very pretty. Which, aren't those like complementary colors as well? I think they are. I wanted to add in, I think this eye look looks a lot like the packaging on here. Alright guys, so here's the finished look for the third one. Absolutely love how it came out. I'm sorry if these lashes are like very long over the top for my small eyes, but they just work so well with these type of videos with the magnetic lashes. But I really love how this whole look came out. I'm wearing the Urban Decay foundation, by the way, the new one, the Hydromaniac. Beautiful finish on this one. And I'll link the rest of my makeup down below if you are curious. But yes, this is how look 3 totally came out with everything added in. Alright guys, I wanted to give my final thoughts on this one. I feel like we were able to test this out really well. We used pretty much all the colors, so I definitely have my thoughts on this one. I have to say right off the bat, I really love the color story in here. I've said this multiple times, but I just think it is beautiful. I feel like there's so much that I can do with this look-wise. It's just great everyday shades for me. So I think I am going to use this a lot. The quality was really good. I would say it's pretty typical Urban Decay quality. Like if you guys have their Honey palette or the Ultraviolet, it's pretty much the same quality as that. They have kind of a specific formula. Their mattes they feel almost dry to the touch, but like once you actually put them on the eyes, they have a nice medium pigment and they're very buildable and blendable. They blend out so nicely. So it's very easy to create a look and there's no patchiness, no skipping of the shadows. So I love that about Urban Decay's mattes. I'm not always the biggest fan of Urban Decay's shimmers. I feel like they aren't as punchy as most other palettes that I like from like Natasha Denona, which I know Natasha's like very pricey. I also have some like other palettes that I feel like are a little bit more metallic. With Urban Decay, I do feel like they are gradually getting better with their metallic formula though, but I'm very into very shimmery eyeshadows, and I do feel like we were able to kind of achieve that today with the 3 looks. I tried out most of the shimmers in the palette and they are beautiful. They're gonna be more of like a medium shimmer in my opinion though, but still very stunning on the eyes. I think they are definitely getting better and better like I mentioned. And I didn't really have too many issues in the palette. I would say I don't really like that these 2 colors are very close in color to each other. I feel like they could have done something, maybe a medium cool brown in there would be nice, because I just feel like those 2 shades are very similar. The first 3 I probably won't use a ton in the palette, so I think they could have added something else there. I feel like Urban Decay does this a lot with their palettes. They always have 2 colors that look almost identical, and it seems to always be like in the lighter tone family. I was very happy to see some deeper tones in this one. You guys know when I tried out the Ultraviolet, I was really missing the depth from that palette. Like, I like to build my looks and I love a dark outer corner to do a nice smoky look, and I feel like we were able to build that with these shades. I was very impressed with the blue in this palette. I thought it performed nicely. Sometimes that's a very hard color to do. It can be patchy and not want to blend and kind of get all over the eyes, but this one was really easy to work with. I would say the only issue I had was with Pony Up. I just wish that it would be a little bit darker. I felt like that one was a little harder to build up. It kind of wanted to stay more of a medium pigmentation, but we still created a beautiful smoky eye with this one. So that is kind of my thoughts on the shades using them. So there's that. Let me go ahead and get into some comparisons. I was kind of looking through my palettes to see what is similar. I mean, if you guys take out like the blues in this palette, I mean, you'll definitely have a very neutral color scheme, but comparing it with some of my other Urban Decay palettes, it seems to stand on its own. I was thinking there may be some similarities between Naked Honey and this one, but really, since the Naked Honey is so golden, it seemed to be very different. Like, I couldn't even really dupe the gold shimmer in there, so I felt like those kind of had some similar tones, but obviously this has a lot more different aspects to it, so it's not really the same or similar to my other Urban Decay palettes. The palette that I found to be closest to this, which I feel like they kind of got inspiration from, is actually Natasha Denona Gold. This is one of my favorite palettes in my collection, and they definitely, I feel like, got inspiration from this because they basically have the same teal shades in here, so I don't think that's a coincidence. But like this one, as you can see from Natasha, is very similar to the Bud shade here, and it also has the deep teal in the palette as well as text. I thought those were similar in the palette. Some of the tones were definitely different. Like Natasha's mattes are definitely deeper in tone, so they weren't exactly the same, but there's definitely similarities within these, and I feel like they are the closest I could find a dupe for in my collection. So if you guys have been wanting the gold, it's very pricey at like $120 or something like that, then this would be a good way to kind of see if you like those tones and if you'll use those teals and blues in the palette. But obviously, I mean, I have some other palettes that have those blue tones in it if that's really what you're going for. Like, for instance, Nabla's Secret palette has those teals, not as much of the gold shades though. And then the Lunar Beauty also has the blues, if you guys are into that, and some more neutrals. So I thought those were a little bit similar, but not exactly a dupe if you guys are kind of looking through your own collection. But yeah, I definitely thought Natasha Denona Gold reminded me of this one. So those are kind of my quick comparisons. All my thoughts kind of gathered around the Wild West palette. I really like the Honey and the Naked Reloaded from Urban Decay, but I feel like this kind of has both in one, so I might end up using this one even more. We'll see. But that is kind of it for today's video on this Wild West palette. I hope you guys enjoyed this and found it helpful. Let me know if there's any questions you have, anything you want to know if it's comparable to that I have in my own collection. Oh, another palette, I was thinking in my head last night of what it could be similar to. Let me pull it up. I think I took a screenshot. I don't have it in my collection, but it kind of reminded me of Kathleen Light's and ColourPop, the Dream Street palette. Just color schemes, but not exactly the same. Obviously, this one has more coral, but I thought that those have a similar color story with the neutrals and pops of blue. But yeah, that's it for this video today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.